So Nikon's always been strong with image quality. Their processing, the colors, it all feels natural, real. But yeah, there's always a but, right? And for Nikon, it's autofocus. That's where people always felt the gap. When the Z6 III came out, we expected that gap to be filled. But then, no bird-eye autofocus. That one missing piece made it feel incomplete. Well, that's finally changing. Today we're talking about that thing we've all been hoping to see on the Z6 III, bird-eye autofocus. This isn't a guess, and it's not something buried in a firmware changelog. Nikon confirmed it. They said it, straight up, from their official Nikon USA account. And we've all been waiting for this. Not just hoping it'll show up, but asking why it wasn't there from the start. It's not just for birders or wildlife folks. It's about Nikon finally giving it something that changes how it performs in real-world hands. But before we dive deep into what this means, let's talk about why this whole thing felt awkward for Z6 III in the first place. So what's the weird part? The cheaper models have this feature, ZF, Z52, even the Z5 II also got it. All those bodies sit under Z6 III in price, in performance, and in target user base. But they still managed to get bird-eye autofocus before the Z6 III did. It wasn't a good look. It's not like Z6 III is weak, but they left this one feature out. That felt odd. People noticed. The comments were everywhere, forums, YouTube videos, even Nikon's own posts. Everyone kept asking the same thing. Why doesn't the Z6 III have this? Now Nikon has heard us all and is ready to fill that gap. Then one short reply on X, that's all it took. That's it. No fluff, no PR-safe language, just a timeline. And honestly, that one sentence carried a lot of weight. It was like Nikon finally acknowledged, yeah, we heard you. And they might have held it back on purpose, either to stagger releases or to fine-tune it before pushing it to Z6 III. For Z6 III owners, that's a sigh of relief, because now we know it's not a hardware limitation. It's not something they're locking behind a newer model. It's coming, it's real, and it could make the Z6 III a lot more appealing, especially for people who shoot anything that moves fast. So why this feature matters so much? Let's break it down. Bird-eye autofocus isn't just about birds, sure, that's the headline. But the tech behind it? It's next-level subject tracking. We're talking about a system that finds the eye of a moving bird, which is small, fast, and often hidden in trees or a busy background, and locks onto it. So if your camera can do that, it can handle pretty much anything. Street photography, pets, sports, wildlife, even concerts. Any moment where the subject moves, shifts, or disappears behind something for a second. This tech is built for that. Standard animal autofocus? It might grab the body or the wing. But the bird-eye autofocus goes straight for the eye and holds it. That's the difference between getting a soft shot and getting the one that hits. It gives you sharpness where it counts and confidence when you press the shutter. So yeah, it's a clear jump in autofocus tech. And honestly, Sony has been doing this better for a while. Their autofocus is fast, really accurate, and Nikon's been a little behind. Still good, but not quite at that level. So this bird-eye detection, if they get it right, might finally close that gap. That's what we're hoping for. And yeah, with this feature, they'll be more strong, more advanced. But will it make them the leader? Let's see how they stand against the others. Before we move on, a quick heads up. Take a second and hit the subscribe button to stay updated with our future videos. All right, back to it. Sony has had this bird-eye autofocus dialed for years. You pick up an A7 IV or an A9 II, and it just knows what to lock onto. It's fast, it's sticky, it almost feels like cheating sometimes. Even the A6-700 track birds like it's second nature. And Canon's right there too. The R6 Mark II, it tracks birds well, and Canon's subject detection has come a long way. They're not messing around anymore. So yeah, Nikon's late, But the question is, are they late and bad or late and better? Though we have seen it on Nikon Z9, then the Z8, then slowly, very slowly, they trickled it down. And that's what stung with Z6 III. Because this camera has the power. It's not under-equipped. You've got dual processors, fast burst rates, deep buffers, pro-level video, everything under the hood said capable. Now with bird-eye autofocus confirmed, that gap's closing, and fast. Compared to the Sony a7 IV now, Z6 III has something to say. Sony still wins on raw tracking speed and maybe lens variety, but Nikon brings cleaner internal video options. Built-in 6K RAW, NRAW, and ProRes formats. Plus, that Nikon grip and body design still feels better in hand for a lot of shooters. Next to the Canon R6 Mark II, that's a tighter battle. Canon's color and hybrid performance are great, but Nikon now offers better internal recording formats, full-frame quality, and a much more polished body build. And with bird-eye autofocus being ported straight from the Z9, we're expecting good results right out of the gate. And if we look at the Fujifilm X-H2S, that's a speed beast. Insanely fast readout, awesome for fast subjects, but it's still APS-C. Good for Fuji lovers, no doubt, but Z6 III now gives full-frame performance, with pro video specs and Nikon's own clean look. That makes it a tempting pick for folks looking to go all in on a full-frame system without going full flagship. Even Nikon's own lineup changes with this. You don't have to stretch to a Z8 or Z9 anymore, just to get strong subject tracking. Z6 III now brings that same core logic in a smaller, more affordable body. Now that's a big deal. So it's not sitting outside anymore, watching Sony and Canon do the talking. If Nikon tunes this feature well, and they should, based on what they did with Z9 and Z8, it might not just be good enough. It could be what finally makes the Z6 III feel finished. Now you all might have a question, why did Nikon wait? Here's what we dug into to understand that. This is where it gets speculative, but not in a bad way. The Z6 III has all the hardware, so there's no real reason why bird-eye autofocus couldn't be there on day one. Maybe Nikon was tuning it, trying to see how the feature performed on lower-tier bodies first, just to make sure it scaled right. Or maybe they just didn't want to rush it, because once it's in, people will test it to death. Whatever it was, the pressure clearly built up, and Nikon finally decided to respond before the update even dropped, just to calm the community down. That tells us one thing. They know how much this matters, and they know people are watching. Here's the thing though, this is a promised update. We don't have it in our hand yet. We don't know how fast it'll roll out. By the end of the year could mean anything. It could come in summer, or it could be pushed to December. And when it does arrive, there's a chance it won't be identical to what we see on the Z9. It could be a scaled-back version, maybe not as fast in low light. Also, lenses matter. Autofocus performance often shifts depending on what glass you're using, so your results might vary. And we've seen that happen before. Yeah, there's room for healthy doubt, but at least now we're not sitting in the dark anymore. If you already own a Z6 III, you're good. Sit tight. This update will bring more firepower to a camera that already has great handling, excellent image quality, and solid video tools. You don't have to upgrade to a Z8 just to chase autofocus anymore. If you were holding off, waiting to see where Nikon goes with this body, this could be your moment. The Z6 III now feels more like a well-rounded tool instead of one waiting for key features. Also, this move signals something deeper. It means Nikon is starting to support cameras longer. We're not just talking minor bug fixes. This is a performance upgrade. That's what users want, cameras that grow with them, not just hardware that gets replaced in 2 years. If Nikon keeps going this route, it builds trust. It makes it easier to invest in their ecosystem, because you know they're not going to leave your body behind once the next model launches. 6 III owners now have something to look forward to. Something that adds actual value, not just marketing polish. And if you're not in the Nikon system, well, this move might not pull you over right away, But it does put pressure on the competition to keep pushing updates too. That's always good. So here's where we're at. This isn't the kind of news that breaks the internet, but it's the kind that quietly changes how people feel about a camera. It shows Nikon's listening. It shows they care about closing the gap, not just in specs, but in user experience. And it gives people a reason to look at the Z6 III again, not as a maybe, but as something with legs, something that's finally living up to what it promised. If the firmware hits the mark, we're looking at a camera that balances price, performance, and now, precision. No more waiting or excuses. Just a camera that's ready to work with you, not against you. Thanks for watching. If you found this helpful, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more camera news and reviews.